You're just a guest now. Don't take control. My dad, Adam, snapped at Easter. After I paid $239 for catering, covered the utility bills, and paid his car insurance every month. I said, "You use me like a paycheck. Now handle the collapse yourself." That night, I cut the power and watched guests leave in silence. My name's James. I'm 26 years old, and I think the best place to begin is by admitting I once believed that being loyal to your family really mattered. That if you showed up, offered your time, gave your money, and truly cared, people would notice that it would mean something. But this past Easter showed me I was wrong. I'm much older than my younger brother. Ryan is 20. When I was 16, my father married again. Not long after my mother passed away. Even writing that now still hurts. Her death kind of broke everything. And while I tried hard to keep things together, my dad moved forward like it was nothing. Within 12 months, he was dating a woman named Emily. Yes, with an E, of course. And by the time I finished high school, she was already living in the same home where my mom once was. After that, it never really felt like a family anymore. It felt more like a blended setup that always tilted toward Emily and Ryan. In the beginning, I gave it my best. I offered to help Ryan with his classwork. I brought food home. I even worked part-time during college to contribute. Emily always acted polite, but it was the kind of politeness that felt fake, like someone smiling at a cashier without making eye contact. And my father, he slowly started disappearing. He missed my concerts. He bailed on our movie nights. He stopped going on our annual spring trips. He said he was busy with work. That was a lie. He just gave up. I left at 20 after getting tired of feeling like an outsider in my childhood home. But I didn't cut contact. I still came to birthdays, still sent packages, still called every Sunday like I always did. It was like I kept thinking, maybe this time will be different. Maybe they'll finally see me. They didn't. Not once. This year, Emily planned a big Easter party. She dropped it into the group chat like it was some exciting surprise. Egg hunts in the backyard, paid catering, family traditions. I rolled my eyes, but said yes. Mostly because Ryan asked me personally. I thought, fine, I'm free that day. Maybe this is another shot to reconnect. But somehow, even when I know better, I still enter that house with a tiny bit of hope. Hoping maybe this time it'll feel like it used to. The day started okay. Emily gave out instructions like she was running a diner. James, go set up the backyard. Put out the eggs. Wipe the tables. Make sure there are juice boxes in the cooler. Don't forget plastic forks and spoons. No, please. No, thank you. Just commands. I didn't complain. I nodded, smiled, and got started. At this point, it's automatic. I cleaned up the yard, spread out the plastic eggs, put on tablecloths, fixed chairs that were loose. When the food company called to say they left out the vegetarian meal, I drove to the store and bought it myself. $239.80. No one paid me back. Around 3 p.m., guests began to arrive. Relatives, in-laws, mostly Emily's family. I was the only one sweating, wearing a button shirt with dirt on my knees. Everyone else looked clean and untouched, like they had just walked out of a commercial. Emily's sister walked over and said, "Oh, you must be the one doing setup. You're doing such a lovely job." Her voice was fake happy, like sweet syrup poured over an insult. It made me want to laugh and yell at the same time. My own uncle didn't recognize me right away. Ryan gave me a half hug and said, "Glad you came, man," before leaving with his girlfriend. As the day went on, I noticed something that made my chest feel hollow. Nobody had saved me a seat. At first, I told myself it was an accident that someone would realize and fix it. But as more guests arrived, more chairs got filled until eventually I was just standing there holding a cheap cup of warm lemonade and wearing a tired smile that didn't mean anything. Emily eventually shouted that food was being served. Guests began gathering near the food table, holding paper dishes, laughing and making small talk. I stayed near the folding table where I had placed the forks. That's when it happened. I bent down to adjust the napkin tray when I heard my father's voice. Firm, abrupt, and just loud enough that people around us went quiet. "James," he said without facing me. "You're just a visitor now. Don't take control." It felt like getting punched without warning. For a moment, I couldn't understand what he said. I blinked, confused, thinking maybe I misheard. But then Emily, standing next to him with her arms crossed, nodded and added, "This isn't your job to handle," with a smug expression that looked like she'd waited years to say it out loud. I turned toward Ryan, my little brother, the same kid who used to trail behind me everywhere when we were young. He met my eyes, then looked away. Not one word, not a sound. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stood there holding that same plastic cup, suddenly realizing I was the only person in that yard who didn't belong anymore. I walked inside quietly, said nothing, found my bag near the door where I'd left it earlier that morning and began taking things back. The internet modem gone. I had purchased it last year when theirs stopped working and they never replaced it. The wireless speakers outside also mine. I had let them borrow those for Ryan's graduation party. They were still using them. That portable generator keeping the food warm. Mine too. I bought it last winter during a snowstorm and left it with Dad for emergencies. I disconnected it and carried it outside like it weighed nothing. It felt like something inside me switched off. All those years of pleasing everyone, holding back, and pretending I was okay, they vanished. And I wasn't finished yet. I walked toward my car at a slow pace, acting calm, even though inside I was boiling. I had just been told in front of everyone that I didn't belong in this family anymore. But I wasn't going to break. Not this time. Not for them. When I opened my trunk and started placing everything inside, I noticed someone watching from behind the glass. Ryan. He didn't step out. He didn't speak. He just stared. I nearly laughed. Maybe he was shocked I didn't walk away quietly like I usually did, but not today. After packing everything, I sat in the car with the engine running. I pulled out my phone and opened a file in my notes app called Shared Expenses. Inside were years of records my family liked to ignore, like the car insurance. Dad had wrecked his car a few years earlier. I helped him get a replacement, added him to my policy, and secured a better monthly rate. He never took ownership of it. I kept paying for it every month, probably out of guilt or routine. Then there were the utility. When Mom died, her name was still on the account. I was listed as a secondary and never removed myself. When they hit financial trouble last year, Emily left her job to focus on self-care or something like that, and I agreed to cover their electric bills for a while. That temporary help became a year-long obligation. I still had full access, total control. And the biggest thing, it wasn't just small stuff like Wi-Fi or online subscriptions. I had also guaranteed their entire air conditioning system. Their old unit failed during a horrible summer. And when the installer said they needed a co-signer, they called me. I didn't hesitate. I came over, signed the loan, and paid the first part to get it started. And guess what? I still had the documents. So, I logged into the payment site, removed my card, and tried to switch the account to someone else. It failed because they hadn't made enough on-time payments. So, I stopped autopay. Next, I logged into the utility website, paused the payments, and sent a message to the support chat. I do not live at this location anymore. Please remove me from the billing account. They replied within a few minutes, and said they would contact the primary account holder to confirm. I grinned. Then I opened the insurance application, found the auto coverage, deleted my payment details, submitted a cancellation request effective at the end of the month, and captured screenshots of every confirmation, removal, and email reply. I attached them to a message to my father with the subject line, "Since I'm only a guest, here's what I won't be covering anymore." I pressed send. After that, I left. Roughly 5 minutes into the drive, the phone started buzzing. First Ryan, then Emily, then Dad. Nobody left a message. I didn't answer. I reached my place, parked my car, and made myself something simple to eat. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich without. Feeling like a kid. Then, I sat down and finally wrote this story. I don't know what the future holds, but I know this. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up when you're ready to leave. And sometimes, the hardest thing to do is stop trying to fix a family that's already broken.